Let's talk about Jeff Bezos and the Washington Post. Now, Jeff Bezos, I don't know if it's fair to pin him to the left or to the right. I mean, he was pretty supportive of Obama. He was very supportive of the Washington Post's approach to Trump 1.0 and the democracy dies in darkness tagline until that all started to go very poorly for the Post. But the new opinion editor over at the Washington Post is Adam O'Neill. They have announced they want to go in a more libertarian direction, but mostly pro-American direction, is how they've phrased it. Free markets, free people, which is the Wall Street Journal editorial boards or the Wall Street Journal's mission. I forget whether it's from their editorial board or their paper's general mission in the past, but that's basically what they do. And all of this is to say, the Washington Post is embarking on this very expensive project to right the ship, as Bezos sees it, and they're trying to do kind of what CBS seems to be trying to do with potential free press acquisition, and what the New York Times is definitely not doing, based on what we just discussed from Ta-Nehisi Coates to Nicole Hannah-Jones. So I wanted to get your take, Mark, on this interview that Adam O'Neill gave to, this is his first interview as opinion editor of the Washington Post. And he gives the interview to Joseph Wolfson of Fox News, believe it or not. And one of the things he says here is our readers are overwhelmingly liberal, right? And they're all overwhelmingly located in blue states, in just a few blue states, and they're overrepresented on the coast. And so one way to look at it would be to say, well, if you're not partisan, if you have highly partisan readership, they may be offended by that. And maybe that's true, but looking forward as I rebuild, I just want to see it as an opportunity to expand our reach. He says, frankly, a lot of people don't trust the Post and they don't trust the mainstream media broadly. It goes on to say, it's possible highly partisan readers may not want to subscribe to the Washington Post or read the Washington Post anymore. Just as a business decision, what do you make of this on the business front and then on the content front, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I deal with this every day in building the company I'm trying to build, where we want all voices on two-way. We don't want just people in the mushy middle, moderate, centrist, and independents. We want the people on the farthest left, the farthest right, so people can learn from each other. And when I put a liberal person on, I hear from many, not all, but many of my conservative audience, and they say, I'll never watch again. I'll never watch again. That person was so liberal. And then the same thing, I'll have somebody conservative on. The liberals will say, I can't watch your platform. And I say, you should be thanking me for giving you the opportunity to listen to a well-curated list of people who are telling you what the other half of America is thinking. And you have an opportunity on our platform to question them.
That's right.
The Washington Post, like all papers on the news side, not all, but most, was liberal. They didn't say it. They claimed they were fair, but they covered conservatives and Republicans in a much different manner than they covered Democrats. Their editorial board was all liberals. And Jeff Bezos said what the owner of the Los Angeles Times, Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, with whom I host a show on Two-Way, what he said, which is in effect, I'm not quoting him, in the Washington Post, Bezos said the same thing. Why should everyone on my editorial board be liberal? It doesn't make any sense. Now, the Post editorial board under the what's the gentleman's name who passed away? I'm blanking on his name. They were left of center, but they weren't far left. But they were still left of center, and they had far more liberal columnists than conservatives, although they had some somewhat conservative, although not really too many MAGA, although Mark Thiessen writes on that page. And I think what they're doing is going back to the Michael Jordan adage about why Michael Jordan, a Democrat, didn't endorse candidates, because Republicans buy sneakers too. Republicans, conservatives are interested in news too. And so why would you want to have a business that says we only want to sell to half the customer base? We want to not try to sell to the other half. And I think this guy, from what I've read about him, is going to make an effort to try to expand the number of people who are open to reading the Washington Post. That's good business, but it's also good editorially. It's good journalistically to say in a country where more than half the people who voted for Donald Trump, maybe our product should reflect that.
Yeah, I can speak to this a little bit, because I don't know if I've ever said this before, but earlier in the year, I was in talks about potentially this job with the Washington Post or other jobs at the Washington Post, and I ended up taking myself out of the running for it. Basically, what people can take from that is that, while I think there's some really laudable ambitions happening at the Washington Post and some really interesting people over there now, I really wonder, Mark, if what you just described about the Michael Jordan model in 2025 into the 2030s is feasible, given how we have polarized into a very democratized media landscape where niche followings, like two-way is actually a really good example. Like that is an underserved part of the market. These are people that want to hear the clang and the messy noise. So maybe that speaks to what the Washington Post is doing. But they have a lot of overhead and they want to put a lot of money behind this. And I kind of wonder if, sort of doing a USA Today for 2032 is feasible.
Well, I think the key is to not be bland. Again, it's not to say we're going to try to smooth everything out and just be bland. We're just going to have kind of centrist positions and centrist voices. I have Laura Loomer on two-way. I have people who work for Bernie Sanders on two-way. So I don't want to take those voices away. I want everybody under one roof. And I'll say again, the most successful red or blue media reaches millions, but not tens of millions in most cases. And we're a big country. My anecdotal experiences matches up with the data. The biggest group is people who are not super partisan, people who say they do want to find sources of information that tell them the truth rather than a point of view. And so two-way is betting, and I'm betting, and it looks like the Washington Post seems to be trying to bet on the concept of let's reach everybody rather than a niche.
Definitely. That's absolutely what they're doing. It's actually pretty hard to go to sleep after wrapping these shows at 11. You could probably imagine that's the case because live broadcasting gets your adrenaline going like basically nothing else. But I really mean this. Cozy Earth's bamboo sheets and bubble cuddle blanket make it much, much easier. I actually get excited to jump into bed even after the high of partying with our great guests like Mark Halperin, who keep making news on the show. So these bamboo sheets are next level, buttery soft, breathable, and they keep you cool all night. You sleep a few degrees cooler and wake up genuinely refreshed. And the bubble cuddle blanket, it is like a warm, luxurious hug. Midweight, plush faux fur, equal parts nap-worthy and stylish. There's a reason Cozy Earth offers a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. They know you'll fall in love, and you will. I'm telling you, I get so excited to go to sleep, even when I'm all amped up after the show. Visit CozyEarth.com. Use my code Emily for 20% off. That's CozyEarth.com, code Emily. And if you get a post-purchase survey, please let them know you heard about Cozy Earth from After Party with Emily Jashinsky, because home isn't just where you live, it's how you feel. Let's go home with Cozy Earth.